Howdy. Today, folks, we're going to be taking a look at things you should be thinking about if you want to go buy a new electric guitar. Just as my other videos in this series about buying a new or used instrument, I assume that you're going to be purchasing that guitar and that you've chosen it for its look, feel, sound, or probably recommendations you've gotten from friends or other guitar players. This video is not about choosing a specific guitar or recommending a specific brand or type of electric in this case. This video is about helping you make sure the guitar you get is in excellent condition when you purchase it, and also help you get the best price for it. Now, unless you know exactly what you're going to get, you don't want to buy sight unseen like online. And no matter where you buy, whether you buy online or in a store, be sure the guitar you're buying can be returned for no extra cost. A lot of big places will do that. They'll give you that chance to try out a guitar for a week, 10 days, sometimes even longer than that. And then send it back if there's a problem, you don't like it for whatever reason, you send it back and you get your money back. Some places don't do that. Make sure before you buy online or even at a store that they're going to allow you, hey man, I took this home and I decided I don't really like it. It's not really going to fit what I want. I'd like to look for something else. Make sure they're going to give you your money back, not just a store credit. You want to have your money back so you can get what you want where you want to get it. Okay. Also, do not assume that a new guitar is new. Many guitars are sold as new, but they've been bouncing around the store for sometimes weeks, months, maybe even a year or more. And, you know, they've had lots of hands on it, may have some dents, and we're going to talk about all that sort of thing in a moment. But don't assume that it's new. The guitar did not literally come from the factory moments before you walked in the store, and they just opened it up out of the box and put it on the shelf just for you walking in the store. That rarely ever happens. It can happen, but it doesn't usually happen. Choosing an electric guitar can be a daunting task, as there are many different types of electric guitars, and explaining that in depth and the different types and their positives and negatives is well beyond the scope of this short video I'm going to do, but I will touch on the 4 basic types of electric guitars just for reference so you know what I'm talking about. First of all, there are the ones that I think most people buy when they think of an electric guitar. There are solid body electrics. They might look like something like this. It's solid body, meaning literally the body is made out of a solid piece of wood, and it doesn't really have any hollow sections in it. It's just a solid piece of wood with a neck on it. Of these type of guitars, of the solid body electrics, they fall into 3 categories. The bolt-on neck, you'll see that here. And they're very, very, very common. You're going to find just about everybody makes a bolt-on neck guitar these days. They're easy to make, they're fast, they're relatively inexpensive because they are bolt-on. And but that doesn't mean they're a bad guitar. They have their own positive and negatives. Again, that's beyond the scope of this video. But it's, you know, they're a decent little guitar and they can be quite nice to play. Certainly, Eric Clapton liked his bolt-on. A lot of people play bolt-on guitars. Stevie Ray Vaughan, a lot of people do. Eddie Van Halen. So they are a very valid, very good guitar. Then there are the type of solid body guitars that have a set-in neck. Now, I don't have one of those right here, but I do have a guitar with a set-in neck. A set-in neck is just what you see here. The neck is attached into the body of the guitar and glued into place. That's all it is. That's called a set-in neck guitar, or a set neck. Then they have something called the 3rd type of solid body is a neck through type guitar. And that's a guitar that has the neck, the one-piece neck, goes all the way through the body, or at least down past the bridge. And that has its own advantages and disadvantages. The real advantage to any of these three, as far as the neck itself is concerned, is that a bolt-on neck guitar, if you have a bad neck angle, if this neck somehow is not sitting properly according to the bridge, the height of these saddles off the bridge, it's very easy to reset these. These, you just unbolt it, that's shimmed, put it back together, it's done. It takes minutes to fix it. That's an advantage, but that's not, that doesn't mean the other ones are awful. Honestly, I prefer neck-through guitars, and I have owned quite a few of those in my life. Anyway, that's the three types of basic types of solid body electrics. The next type of electric guitar is a semi-hollow body, and that's this one you saw me hold up a moment ago, this here. This it looks like it has a hollow body, but there's actually, this neck is set into a block of wood that runs the full length of the body of the guitar. So it's only hollow bodied on the side. You could call them chambers, or hollow chambers. And there's a lot of different guitars that are like this. Certainly B.B. King likes his Lucille, which is a 335, a Gibson, I think 335, 355? Anyway. But it's semi-hollow body, his guitar. And these all have, like I said, their own advantages and disadvantages too. This one, solid bodies tend to be the most feedback resistant. These would be the next most feedback resistant because it has this solid piece going through here, and you don't have the chambers resonating and causing the pickups to cause a feedback problem. But this is a semi-hollow body, and these have their own use. They're wonderful instruments. There's the full hollow body electric, which looks something like this. And they come in all sorts of shapes and designs. This one is a full hollow body. That is, this is hollow all the way across, and it sounds essentially like an acoustic guitar when strummed. It might not be quite as loud as a regular acoustic, but... So it has, a good bit of volume just strummed. It has the pickup on it. That's what makes an electric guitar. Here's the pickup. And these have their own use too. You often saw these played by jazz guys and various guys, but also I think Stray Cats, they use them. A lot of guys use them. And then finally, the fourth type of guitar, which is kind of a little more rare, are the digital guitars. And some of these are, this is an old digital guitar. This was from the 80s. They started making these back in the 70s and 80s. And you can still find them occasionally nowadays. This is essentially a solid body electric guitar. This one is. But it has a hex pickup on it that allows the signal from these strings to be turned into a digital signal so that digital signal can then power other sound effects, other sounds. This guitar in particular can sound like a vibraphone or a B3 organ or a flute or an orchestra. So they can do some really cool things, digital guitars. And some have this type of pickup. Some have pickups built into the frets. Each fret has its own sort of pickup system built into it. It's an electronic system. But so this would be the fourth type. And again, kind of rare. When would you use this? I don't know. I'm not sure you'd be out looking for this as a first guitar, but this is another type of another type of electric guitar. Now we've sort of gone through the various types of electric guitars, and we're assuming that you've found one, you've gone to a store and you've tried one, or you played a friend's and you say, boy, I'd really like to have your guitar, and you found it online for a good price, whatever. So these are the things you want to do. Now, if you go to a store, it's much better because you can really put it in your hands and look at it. And that's the first thing you'd want to do. You'd want to take a look at the guitar. Look for any signs of cracks in the wood or lacquer. Let me grab the guitar here. You're going to be looking for any kind of little cracks in the lacquer. Sometimes you'll see them on these bolt-on necks. You'll see a little crack in the lacquer right along the edge here. And that may be a problem or may not, but on a new guitar, you got to assume that it's a new guitar. You're buying it new. You don't want to buy it with cracks in it already. So, consider that. That's important to consider. Look for any cracks in the lacquer, in the wood, in the neck, Any place where two bits of wood meet, like along this little, what they call a skunk strip here, anywhere you could see a little crack, maybe along the edge of the nut here, anything. Look for any cracks you see. Any cracks that are there, move on to the next guitar. You don't want to be like buying a new guitar that has problems already. Let's see here. Look for loose parts, like loose tuning machines, loose knobs, loose jacks, any of the little screws, little collar screws around various hardware. Look for that sort of thing. Look for things that are missing. Even a brand new guitar, sometimes they'll be missing the little knob on here. Don't let the store say, oh, well, you can replace that anywhere. No. They should give it to you. It's a brand new instrument. It should be on there. And if they can give you a replacement one and fit it on themselves and have it so that it's on properly, and you like the guitar, get it. That's not a problem. But don't let them sell it to you missing parts, like a knob or, like I said, this little bit here or anything on here. Just, it's a new instrument. That's what we're dealing with. They should give it to you in new condition. Look for signs of any dings, dents, scratches, anywhere on the guitar, especially the back of the neck. A guitar that's been sitting a while in the store often will get little dings or dents back here. That happens just sitting against something, or somebody bumps it against, they're trying out the guitar and they bump it against an amp and bang, next thing you know, they have a little dent there. Look for those sorts of things. If it has any dings and dents, it's new, but it's not really. It may come with a full warranty, and they may say, oh, it doesn't hurt the way it plays. Yeah, maybe not, but you take it home, every time you see that little ding or dent, you'll know that you didn't put it in there, and that'll kind of bother you. I'm telling you, as a guy who owns a bunch of guitars, you ask anybody who owns a bunch of guitars, anything they didn't put in there bothers them. Check to see if the guitar has any possible serious problems. On a set neck guitar or a neck through type guitar, a serious problem for the neck would be like sighting down the neck, and the neck has a twist to it. You look down over the frets and you can see that the fret closest to you is at a different angle than the neck way down here somewhere, than the fret down here, I'm sorry. You would see it turn a little. That's a twist. Anything like that is a problem. Check to see if there's any buzzing anywhere on the neck. There shouldn't be any buzzing. There shouldn't be bad frets on the guitar. Feel the way the guitar feels. How does it feel in your hands? When you run your fingers along the side of the neck, this is very common with a guitar that's been sitting for a while in the shop or that doesn't have very good fretwork. You run your fingers along the side of the fingerboard here, and you may feel like little sharp edges sticking out. If it's sharp or sticking out, it's probably popped a little, or it's not properly set, or definitely not properly dressed. Dressed meaning the frets rounded at the end so it doesn't have little sharp edges and polished properly. A new guitar shouldn't have that problem. Even a relatively inexpensive new guitar shouldn't have that problem. How does the guitar feel to hold, to play? Does it sit on your knee properly? Does it have good balance? Does it have dive, what they call dive, where the headstock is heavy and the guitar, every time you let go of the guitar, it wants to do like this. It wants to fall sort of towards the headstock. For example, if I were to put this on a strap and test to see how this thing feels standing up, and when I let go of the guitar, it does not have neck dive. You can see it doesn't want to go like this. It doesn't want to go like this. Wherever I put it, it's got nice balance to it. It's got a very nice balance. So this is a very comfortable guitar to play because it is very comfortable in the way it sits. So look for those sorts of things. That might help you determine whether a guitar is going to be one that you're going to be comfortable with. Will the guitar be too heavy if you wear it on your shoulder? And also consider if you're buying a solid body electric, something like this, you're probably going to be standing with it a lot. If you play in a band, whatever, you start to play in a band, you're going to be standing with it. So consider that. Check the electronics. Make sure they're working properly. Make sure that the knobs, when you turn them, have it plugged in and strum it and turn the knobs. The volume and the tone should smoothly change. In other words, the volume should get quiet to loud very smoothly. There shouldn't be any crackling. There shouldn't be any cutting in and out. It should just be a nice, smooth, clear, clean sound. And the same with the tone. There shouldn't be any crackling or popping or whatever when you change the selector switch. It should change cleanly. It should be like, one to the next, to the next, to the next, without any, again, popping or cracking or anything. Any extra switches like this fade switch shouldn't make any other weird noises either. Another thing that should be going on is that the pickups themselves, these are the pickups here. These are single coil pickups. They should be set so that the pickups have a balance going from one string to the next. In other words, you plug it in to the amp at the store and you play each string one at a time. The string should have a nice even output going from string to string. It shouldn't be way loud on the bass and way quiet on the treble. Or way loud on the treble and way quiet on the bass. Or even worse, that one of the strings is having a hard time getting picked up at all. It's like loud, loud, soft, soft, loud, loud. Something like that. You don't want that. That could be a problem with actually a pickup, a bad pickup. So check on that sort of thing. And make sure, of course, all your electronics are working well. And that they're attached properly, that there are no loose screws, loose collar, like a little collar nut here. That shouldn't be loose. None of this should be loose. Turning the volume or tone control, they shouldn't hit the end and then all of a sudden turn a little more. That means there's something loose underneath here. And, check all that out before you buy a guitar. Here's another one. Does the guitar come with a case? This is important only if you expect to ever take the guitar out of your bedroom. And so that would be pretty much for everybody. And there are different types of cases. There are hard shell cases. There are foam hard shell cases, gig bags. There are a lot of different types of cases. A hard shell case generally is hard plastic or fiberglass too, but they often are wood. This is a wood case. This is plywood cut into this shape, made into a case with vinyl over top of it. And this will protect the guitar pretty well. It won't protect it if you run over it with a steamroller, but it'll protect it pretty much in any other situation. It'll give it some protection. Enough to, hopefully the guitar won't die before you get to the gig or on the way back from the gig. So this is a good type of case. They also make, like I said, cases that look sort of like this, but are made from a thick, hard foam, like a styrofoam, with a little bit of soft foam on the inside to pad the instrument. And they're nice cases too. They tend to be lighter than the plywood cases. Then there's, you don't see them very much anymore, but they're still around, chipboard cases. Chipboard cases are essentially a cardboard, like cardboard about yay thick, with vinyl over top, with very little padding on the inside, but it does protect the guitar some. They're kind of flimsy, you take the case, you can kind of go like, do like twist it a little bit because they're so kind of flimsy. And then of course the gig bag. Gig bags are essentially just a backpack for the guitar made from very thin foam and a little bit of nylon over the outside. A gig bag's better than nothing. It'll get you from your house into the car and from the car into the gig or into a friend's house to do a rehearsal. But it's not a great case, not a great thing to put your guitar in. So consider that if you don't get one with the guitar, you're probably going to need one in the future. That comes into the price and what you want to spend at the time. Next, we're going to talk about MSRP and MAP, and I'll try to be quick on this. When you go out and buy a guitar, you should always know the MSRP. What is that? The MSRP stands for the manufacturer's suggested retail price. That price from the manufacturer, from Gibson, Fender, Epiphone, I don't care who it is the price that the manufacturer suggests this guitar could sell at. Now, why is that important? Because the store generally pays about 50% of that price. In other words, if you have a $800 electric guitar, manufacturer suggested retail price of $800, the store probably paid about $400 for the guitar. That gives you an idea of how to make offers for that guitar as far as what you want to pay for it. MAP pricing is a different thing. It's not as important. MAP is more important to the retailer. MAP is just what's called the minimum advertised price. And it is what the manufacturer of the guitar, let's say Gibson in this case, tells the seller of the guitar, tells them what you can advertise at, the minimum price you can advertise that at. The reason that's important to them is that if for some reason they go under that minimum advertised price and the manufacturer finds out, the manufacturer can come back to them and say, look, you advertised this below our minimum advertised price. We think this guitar is worth at least that price. By advertising it lower, you've lowered the value of this guitar. You no longer can sell Gibson guitars. They can take their distributorship. So that's not the important price to you. The important price to you is the MSRP. And if, no kidding, sometimes stores will and won't list an MSRP. Generally they will, because that's usually the highest price that guitar normally sells for. If, like I said, if its MSRP is $800, they might have on their little sign next to the guitar, MSRP, $800, sale price, $720. And you're thinking, oh, I saved $80. I saved 10% on this guitar. Yippee! Well, what they really paid was about $400 for that guitar. And so you're now giving them $320 for moving that guitar from their hands to your hands. And you might be okay with that. Who knows? If it's a really popular instrument, it may have, you might have to pay close to the MSRP. If it's really popular, everybody wants it. But generally that isn't the case. Generally the case is that you should get at least about 20% off that guitar, which in this case would be $160 off of $800, which would be $660, I guess. What'd I say? No, $640. And that's 20% off, and that seems like a good price off of $800. And you might see that in the store. Oh, we're selling it for $640. But know that they paid $400. And if the guitar's been sitting there, you can sometimes offer them about $100 over their price, what they paid, and they'll take it. For example, again, the guitar is MSRP of $800. They paid about $400 for it. You can say to them, look, I've got cash. Cash talks, by the way. Don't try to use a credit card. Use cash. That always talks better. It costs them if you use a credit card. So you go ahead and you say, I've got cash here, $500. I've got exactly $500. Will you take it? I get more times than not, you hold up $500 in cash in front of the guy, unless it's, like I said, a guitar they know they're going to sell later today because just everybody wants it. They're going to look at you and go, okay, yes, bang, they'll take it. Because they need to move it. Every time they make a sale, they make money. And keep in mind, again, in this situation, you have the wallet, you have the cash, you have the power. In any buying situation, you have the power. You can always walk away. You can go down the street to another guitar store and maybe they'll give it to you for the price closer to what you want. You might even have to, at one point, ask if they won't go for $500, say, what is the best you can do on this? And, let me talk to my manager. They might talk to their manager. They might go back and go, okay, maybe I'll knock 30% off. What's another, So they might do that. But definitely bargain with them. They expect you to bargain with them. And if they say, we don't do any bargaining here, and they offer terrible prices, and now if they offer great prices, buy it. But if they offer terrible prices and they say, we don't do any bargaining here, hit the door. Go somewhere else. Somebody will bargain with you, I guarantee you. So MSRP matters because it tells you how much they paid for the guitar, and it gives you a starting point as to where to offer. Okay, does that make sense? I guess that makes sense. And like I said, always bring cash. Always bring cash. Try not to use a credit card. I mean, sometimes you have to use a credit card, but know that a credit card company will charge them 3 to 5% generally of the total sale on that guitar. So that takes right away from their profit. If you pay them cash, they make whatever you offer them over that price that they paid. That's profit for them. But if they have to take a credit card, then it gets to be weird. Oh, another thing that a lot of these stores will do is sometimes to try to get you to pay the higher price, they'll offer you freebies. Like, hey, if you pay the $720 for this $800 guitar, we'll give you a tuner and strings and a capo and a strap and maybe even a book on how to start to play the guitar. You should know that the strings cost them about $2 a set. The tuner is going to be about $2. The capo is going to be about $2. The strap's going to be about $2. The book is going to be about $2. So altogether, they're giving you a $10 discount on a guitar that you are now going to pay $320 over what they paid for it. So, you can, my thing to do is I always say, hey, give it to me at the price I want. If you want to throw those things in, that's fine. I'm happy to take extra strings and a cheap capo. Why not? But otherwise, it's not going to make that much of a difference. Don't be sold on the freebies. You don't buy the guitar because of the freebies. You buy it because of the guitar. And you'll be sad down the road if you buy it for the freebies and not the guitar. You know what I mean? When you get a guitar, a new guitar, consider it, like I've said all the way through here, this thing should be new. Don't buy it off the shelf, having sat on the shelf for, I don't know, months, year, whatever, and just assume that it's in perfect condition. Have it, pay them the money for it, but just before you get the money, say, I want this guitar set up with a new set of strings, and I'll come back in a few days and pick it up. Now, they may say, oh, we can't do that, we don't have an in-house guy who does that, or blah, 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 blah. That might be BS, but you don't really care. Just know that if they do that for you, that's a good sign. And if they don't do that for you, you're going to probably have to do it yourself later. You're going to probably have to pay up to $100 or so to have somebody do a full setup and a new set of strings on that guitar that you thought was new walking out of the store. So consider that. A good store should do a full setup for you before you get it. That should be just part of it, part of their business. If it isn't, that's a little fishy, but if you're willing to pay it later, if you got a good deal on the price, so good a deal that you're like, yeah, I think I can get this guy to do a setup for me for $60, then, know that that's part of the price. And get it set up right away, because if you don't get it set up right away, the guitar isn't going to play real well for you, and you're not going to be happy with the purchase. Once you leave the place, you want to be happy with it. A month down the road, 6 months down the road, you want it to play right. So it should be set up for you. Okay, well, there you go. There's all the basics of, what you should think about when you buy a new electric guitar. I hope this has been helpful. Take care.